This week I decided to take part in the 48th Godot Wild Jam, which is a 10-day jam with a theme and 3 wildcards that you can implement for an extra challenge. And this month, the theme was the moon! How do you like that, Obama? So, let's get started on my game jam journey with... Well, I was in Norway for day 1, so I guess we can't really... As soon as I got back from holiday, I started brainstorming ideas about the moon. I ended up wanting to do something about the tides fairly quickly. I always recommend going with your gut instinct with game jams. And after that, the idea came together. A puzzle game where you move the moon to manipulate the tides and get a boat to safety. Now that I had my idea, it was time to start making a main menu. Yeah, when I'm unsure of the style of a game, I always start with the main menu. I just think it's the easiest way to get the aesthetic clear in your mind. I knew beforehand that I wanted to make something that you might see on a Game Boy, in terms of resolution and colour palette that is. So after about an hour we have ourselves a good looking main menu. After that it was time to actually start coding some movement. The wave works by way of a line 2D node and a polygon 2D node. The line 2D has 160 points created at runtime, 1 per pixel along the width of the window, and each of those points experiences a pull upwards based on its horizontal distance to the moon. The polygon just makes up the rest of the water and follows the points of the line 2D plus the points at either corner. And here's what we have at the end of day 2. It was time to finally fix these waves and make them look more realistic. And after some interesting results, I did it. Don't ask me what this code actually does, I think I passed out during this part. So next, it was time to start making some floaty objects. So the way this works is that each rigid body contains these area 2D floater objects which detect when they are inside the wave area and apply an upward impulse. The impulse is decided by sampling the height of the point on the wave at the floater's x position. There is also another impulse along the normal of the point on the wave if the submerged depth is less than 10, allowing the object to slide down the wave. And it doesn't work. Okay, let me change some stuff. And it still doesn't work. Nope. So after a long time of debugging, I'm getting nowhere. This method of detecting areas doesn't work 99% of the time. And then when it does work, it does stuff like this, which is cool, but when it's so inconsistent, it's not even worth implementing. And that's when it hit me. If I'm already sampling the height of the wave, then why don't I just see if the y position is less than the height of the wave? No more collision detection. No more ridiculously complicated collision polygons. No more problems. So after losing a large portion of my sanity, it was time to work on some buttons, the staple of every puzzle game. And you know what that means? Another chance to get copyright claimed, baby! So now we have buttons and moving platforms that can push stuff around. And with that, I am officially sick of coding gameplay mechanics. So let's take care of some of the small stuff, like a pause menu. But while I was doing that, I got to thinking, I suck at puzzle design. I always felt like there was never really that moment where you got stuck at any of my levels. I could never create a convincing catch to any puzzle. Perhaps the mechanics that I set up were not exactly conducive to puzzle games. In many ways they just felt like small platforming challenges. So I got to thinking, what if the player could make the puzzles themselves? So yes, I decided to change gears mid-jam and focus more on adding a level editor to the game. And keep in mind that I had never done anything like this before, so this was going to be a little challenging. But with the power of montages, there's nothing that can't be achieved. Progress update, we now have objects being placed and removed. Let's try and get it all sent to a scene where you can actually play it. And now it works like a charm. Okay, don't ask me why that happened. Now it works like a charm. A poorly coded, limited functionality charm. And so it's time to get back to making the final few levels because we're running out of time. I ended up with 9 levels, none of them extremely complicated. Again, I can't do puzzle design. I watched like one Mark Brown video before this. Hopefully someone else can make something better than me, even though due to my limited time frame I haven't implemented buttons and moving platforms into the editor yet. So by this point there's about an hour left and hey, we stopped doing that about 5 minutes ago, give it a rest. Anyway, I had just enough time to get some screenshots, export the final build for both HTML5 and Windows, and submit it for the jam with only 11 minutes to spare. All in all, I was pretty happy with the result. The Game Boy style ended up working even better than I expected, and the atmosphere of the game is really calm and relaxing. Making a level editor in such a small time frame was also really fun to do, even if it's barely functional and about as deep as the average English literature quote. So thank you for watching through my journey this week. I hope you enjoyed watching me suffer. Vegan Crusher Devlog 2 is coming soon, here's a little sneak peek. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.